been a minute. Just wanted to film a little bit of a quick in-depth video of my S13. I've done one of these before, but I just kind of wanted to do one now, which kind of shows a little bit more in depth of all the parts and everything that's on the vehicle, more than a little bit what you see. For starters, those who don't know, is that 1989 Nissan 240SX. I've owned this for a couple of years. I bought it as a shell, kind of built it up. It's had like 5 different engines in it, different style engines, not like the replacements, but it's come a long way, and it'll probably continue to make quite a bit of changes along the way. So the way I'm just going to section this video is I'll talk about the exterior, interior, suspension, engine, just to kind of dumb it down here a little bit. So exterior wise, it's mostly all been replaced. So front bumper is a full Type X front bumper with OEM extensions, OEM brackets as far as that goes, OEM turn signals. The only thing I don't have, or fog lights technically, the only thing I don't have are the little turn signals. I had cut the bumper a little bit back when it used to have turbo for the intercooler, but now the vehicle is naturally aspirated, so it doesn't have anything here. I do have a little Amazon style Japanese license plate, just because my vehicle only has a rear plate. And for those that don't know, the Nissan emblem that this bumper needs cross references to like a Maxima one of a specific year, and I found a limited edition Maxima, and so I had ability to get a gold emblem. Hood is like a D-Max style hood. I really like this specific hood because I wanted the vents, but I wanted them to be pushed forward. Some of the cheap D-Max ones will have this vent in the middle, and it just kind of looks, I don't know, it doesn't look good. I feel like when it's pushed more forward, it makes it look a lot more aggressive, and it has a rear vent, which allows for a little bit better cooling actually, so I do like that aspect. I used to run the stock latch. I no longer run the stock latch. I just run these little quick latches, which I wasn't the biggest fan of how they look, but it's kind of a compromise. Fenders are Origin Type 2 fenders, not Type 3. I used to have Type 2 rears as well, but I bought them as a set, and the front fenders I was actually okay with. Side skirts, I actually used to have OEM side skirts. These are Dorky Dory reps, which are pretty good in the rep world, and I always like these little bottom extensions. This one is a WRX extension. The WRXs are obviously longer, so I did have to kind of chop it up right here to make it work. I'll talk about the wheels. I have 3-piece wheels, my main BBS wheels, but I did just do like 3 drift events. Or is it 4? 3 drift events here this past couple of weeks, and I run the MB battles for the drift events, so that's as far as that goes. I do have the Nismo lug nuts, which I really like. They kind of get a little bit beat up, but I do like the Nismo lug nuts, and they're kind of way more durable as far as that goes. This is a slick top car, so no sunroof. I actually do prefer the sunroof, but slick top, people love on these cars just because of sunroof issues, I guess. Rear is a Type 3, I believe it's Modelo drive. It's an Origin rep essentially, but they kind of Origin and this one kind of both fit about the same, and this one's a hell of a whole lot cheaper. And I do finally run a gas cap now. That's been a thing of mine. Whenever I run over fenders, I've never had a gas cap, but I finally actually have one. The vehicle recently actually got repainted white, so it has somewhat of a fresh paint job. The car's just really dirty right now. The closer you get, you'll actually notice. I should have probably washed it up before filming this, but it's all good. OEM Type X rear tail lights, of course, and then I do have the Type X rear valence, and it has an HKS exhaust, which I kind of like how it looks, but the tip is a little bit dirty right now, but nothing you can't clean up. And then I do actually have a rear camera for those that can't tell. I was actually going to run it right there, but I actually do use the little keyhole to open my trunk sometimes, so I kind of wanted that functionality. This side is pretty much the same, nothing too crazy going on here. That isn't on the other side. But yeah, I think that I want to say that kind of wraps it up for the most part for the front. Obviously the quarters are cut with the rear over fenders. They are cut, welded, seam sealed, all that fun stuff, the most proper way you could actually do it. And then I have these little pillars painted. Some people opt to leave them black. I actually had them painted. Moving on to the interior, I actually have Evo 10 seats. I had to buy just S13 brackets, and I had to cut and weld these Evo 10 seats in. These are normally supposed to go in a way bigger vehicle, so I wasn't able to run sliders, but I was okay with that. I just kind of put this one as much back as I possibly could to where it looks okay, and then I kind of fit that one to my specific position, which I'm okay with. They're nice and comfortable. They're not bucket seats sometimes. I mean, you could get in them, but they're not comfortable for everyday driving. So my whole goal is to daily this car if I wanted to. I have actually, I think these were seatbelts out of a Civic. I have manual seatbelts instead of the automatic ones that these vehicles normally come with. These are going to be a little bit better in my opinion in terms of reliability. Civic seatbelt, those are kind of grayish. It'd probably be better if they were a different color. I do have Alcantara, or whatever you want to call this, suede, on the center console as well. They're right there, but it's kind of started to peel. I think I'm going to try to redo that. In the back, it's kind of a mess right now, but I do have a full interior for the most part. The rear seats are painted black. I have a little privacy cover. Just got my helmet and whatnot back here, and I have these little pieces falling I need to reattach. Up in here, we do have Apple CarPlay, rear camera, the shifter, which I think it's actually out of a newer BRZ, S15 steering wheel, cluster, all that fun stuff. I believe these are P2M formats. I need to have a fire extinguisher for the track, which this vehicle does see the track, so I do need to have that on there, which is kind of a good idea to have on here anyways. If you know anything about S13's crackless dashboard, which is great. Jumping into the driver's seat, I have AEM gauges. I love how these AEM gauges look. Specifically AEMs, I think they're so baller. It kind of gives me a 2000s era-esque vibe. I am missing headliner. I'm still missing headliner. I haven't been able to find any slick top headliner, but that's okay. And then I could kind of show you guys. The tacks do work minus my speedo, which I do want to have. I actually have like a little digital one, which I have no idea where it's at, but I still need to hook that up. This does have the Apple CarPlay. It has a rear camera. If you put it in reverse, have a rear camera. It does have heat. Yet to have AC. I'll get into that here a little bit later. It was actually a base model with crank windows. I did convert the harness to be a SC harness, which does have the automatic windows, which I prefer. Actually, a lot of people prefer the manual ones, but I actually like the modern aspect of having just automatic windows. So yeah, so this car does have automatic windows versus the manual windows. Yes, that side is not done yet. I will do that side like this side, but I actually want to do the actual sewing it on rather than just the glue, which I think should last way longer just because I already have some peeling going on like here. So I want to redo this, and I'll probably redo this one, then do that one once I get this side down. Cluster lights and all that fun stuff do work. You probably won't obviously be able to see it here, but no. Oh shoot, my lights went up and down. Fun fact, when I was wiring these up, I actually ran the incorrect harnesses to each one, and I did ruin these two gauges. So I need to buy replacement gauges, but it's okay. I do have my water temp, which is, in my opinion, a little bit more important one. Oh, and I have S15 steering wheel. Totally forgot about this. I love this S15 steering wheel. It's better than, in my opinion, the aftermarket ones. Unless it's like a Nardi or something that feels really nice, but I love how it's kind of thicker. You know, I could reach my turn signals. It's just nice to drive. I know they do make some like suede steering wheel covers for this, which I might want to do in the future for it. As far as suspension goes, obviously I'm not on the lift right now, so I'm not gonna be lifting it up, but I'll kind of show you what I can. I'll start with tires here first. I do have a 245 40/17 for the rear as of now. And the front has a 235, I believe, or 225. I don't remember. 235/40 with a little bit of a stickier tire. I have some 651 Sports up front. I do have Z32 coilovers with the bigger brakes. I have a little bit of a spacer here as well, which is actually depends the style of driving you want to do, actually, for drifting anyways. And I do have a little bit of a space here back here as well for the rear of it. Going down under, I do have all adjustable arms there, 350Z differential, new poly mounts, all that, or subframe bushings, if you want to call it. And if you know anything about S13s, that 350Z differential is pretty difficult to make work with an S13 subframe. This one is an 89.
89.
Yeah.
So it makes that collector.
Yeah, it has collector's plates on it. I think for Watchton you need to have like 30 years for collector's plates, but yeah. Older gentleman just came to talk to me about my 240 that he was just walking. Okay, so just to kind of show you, I do have a Villains Angle kit. I have the GK Tech clearance front arms there, and as well I do have a stock sway bar, which it does hit a little bit, very small, and a lot of people aren't going to believe this, but I actually purposely run Raceline coilovers. I actually like Raceline coilovers for a couple of reasons. A lot of people probably talk crap about them, but for the price, they're pretty good bang for buck. And I actually think they're super comfortable for daily driving, and they have a lifetime warranty if you buy them brand new. And you know, typically if you're just not doing Formula Drift or a dedicated track car, you know, they're pretty good coilovers bang for buck. Mind you, I do have, so on my 350Z, I did buy BCs. On my R34, I do have HKS coilovers. For my S15, I purposely bought the Raceline coilovers again. So it just really depends what you're doing. But for this car, I actually think the Raceline coilovers are great. If I ever bent one or something like that, you know, you could even send it back for warranty. But I actually really like them. Down to drift that. I do have the front rack cut and pushed forward a little bit to kind of correct some of that geometry. So it's actually straight with the rod rather than angled. If you don't correct it, it'll probably be like this. But if you cut and push it forward, it is centered with the lower control arm. This did all used to be Rhino Line black, but when they painted, they got a bunch of overspray in there. I'm assuming just from the vents right here, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Now, my engine, for those that don't know, it's pretty controversial. A lot of people, you either hate it or you're okay with it. Mind you, this car, when I got it, before I owned it, I used to have an RB. It's an 89, so I know it came with a single cam KA. And then when I got it, I put a twin cam KA, so that was a third engine. After that, I swapped it out, put an S13SR. After that, I put an S15SR, which I think if you look back probably in a couple videos, you could actually see that. Now I have a VQ35D. And a lot of people are probably like, why the hell would you put that trumpet of an engine in? But honestly, it's way better than you think. It is such a bang for buck engine. It's like sub 300 horsepower. It's NA. You don't have to deal with turbos. You don't have to deal with any of that. You get a good transmission. You don't have to buy adapter plates. You have just regular parts that you could go and buy at the auto parts store that aren't taxed. You can find an engine for these anywhere, obviously, if you have any issues with it. And obviously, the only thing people can't get around is the sound, which mine has an HKS exhaust and it has resonators, all that fun stuff. If you have the proper exhaust, it does not sound too bad, I promise you. I do have a little bit of an exhaust rattle, which shouldn't contribute to the actual engine itself, which my exhaust rattle is annoying. I hate that, but it's really not that bad. But that being said, I've actually been driving this car and I want to perfect this swap in terms of AC, electrical, everything. So my engine bay is in shambles. I did just do a bunch of drift events. I did not clean it, nor do I care to clean it right now. It's not the worst thing in the world. Just keep in mind, it's not the best thing right now, especially for the exterior. Maybe one day, I'll do up the engine bay, but as of right now, it just works. You could actually kind of see a little bit of the intake poking out right there that I had to do for some clearance, just because these engines do sit really high. Obviously, it's not too pretty. I'm not going to really go super close, but I have this is actually an S14 radiator, but everything's pretty simple. Everything you could buy is bolt-on. You don't have to fabricate anything. I am going to add AC onto this eventually. Only things I really have to the engine is just a catch can, and then my power steering I had to move over towards like single cam stuff after I had already converted for dual cam stuff. But this just works. I did move my battery back up front just to eliminate any voltage drops or anything like that, especially if you know about these older chassis. You do run into electrical issues from time to time. And I do have the heater core hooked up, so all that fun stuff works. ISR exhaust manifolds, which are made for this swap, which just work bolt on to an LS Y pipe, which I did. You probably won't be able to see it, but I did add some flex pipes, which are probably getting a little bit beat up, and then they just bolt on to a stock S13 muffler. Again, I didn't have to do any fabrication. The cool thing about this swap is VQ compressor bolts onto the stock KA line, so you could run AC super easily, which I will be running AC on this car, which is really nice. Again, I'm not dealing with anything turbo wise. I have enough room to work on it. Everything's pretty good. You know, like it works. It's fine. Like most people don't even drive their 240s because they're broken down KAs, SRs, whatever they are. I love the engines, but no one is making them work, putting them together. They're all apart. Get it running, get something like this. You know, it's easy, simple to find, parts are plentiful. It works. Again, like it's good. I don't understand why people wouldn't just want to get their car running with one of these. And you don't have to do like any crazy modifications for clearance. Look, I still have a front sway bar. I still run so much like OEM stuff. I have a big ass hole from when I had an intercooler in with the SR, but everything just works. Like it's fine. You know, I have some fans. I do have the fans on the switch. Actually, I do have the kit to actually just run it automatic. I just have yet to do that. But for a grassroots car, I think they're like 290 horsepower. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember right off the top of my head. It's really good, and I don't have to. For a price you pay for this engine, you'll probably pay the same price for a transmission for a KA, which, mind you, I have a CD transmission with 6-speed. Everything works. Gears work. I even have reverse lights with I do have a wiring specialty harness. You don't need to do that, but everything works. I forgot I had that. I never mentioned that. It's actually pretty cool. I have it kind of a little bit more modernized. But for a street car, it's amazing. It works. And I've done a video, I believe, on this channel actually of kind of a budget breakdown on this swap, which it's actually a really good swap. It's worth watching or worth looking at if it's anything you're curious about. The nice thing is I have a complete 350Z gear ratio, because I have the 350Z diff, transmission, and engine, but that doesn't really matter too much for a gear ratio. So internally, I mean, you have the reliability of a 350Z, but you know, I'd say you'd have the coolness factor of a 240. A lot of people, if you wanted to drive a 350Z, you just buy a 350Z. It's a lot cheaper, but I think this is a whole lot better because I love 240s and I love driving my car, which the two together, you know, is great. And you could have a reliable 240 with other engines. I just think this is kind of a cheat code. I actually wouldn't even have batted an eye at this swap before years ago, to tell you the truth. I would have never guessed that I would have had this swap actually in my car. But honestly, the more you think about it, the more you talk about it, it just makes sense. Just as a quick side note, I have an SRM S15. I have an RB in my R34. I love them. My 350Z does, however, have the HR VQ, which is obviously a little bit better. And my S14 also has, this is super dirty, apologize, HR VQ as well. So put in perspective. And my Cummins has an SR. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I still have a bunch of things to do, kind of like I talked about. I want to finish plumbing up the AC on this thing, which shouldn't be too bad. I have so many cars and not enough time. And when I do have time, the last thing I want to do is work on my car. I do want to obviously get that little heads-up display cluster or digital speedometer working. That's the one downside. I mean, you can make the speedometer work, but it's super complex with this swap. You have to do a bunch of random crap that I really don't care for, to the point where that little heads up is pretty convenient to do, especially for the time and money invested into it. Another thing I need to talk about, this car has OBD2, which, if you know anything about diagnosing, OBD2 makes it really easy, especially just looking up codes to see what was your issue. I think I had a crank sensor go on in this thing last track day, and it was just really easy. I just plug it in, just pull the code real quick, and I don't have to get a super dirty swapping out, buying a bunch of different sensors and guessing and checking, you know, until I get the right one. Which is amazing in my opinion, you know, that you could do that, especially with such an old car. I really like just modernizing an old car. That's kind of my big thing. Just kind of street style cars. I like full interior. I like I like being able to get in my car and want to drive it to get ice cream, you know, if I wanted to, or drive it to work if I wanted to, which I do. I have no issue taking this car out and actually running errands. It's not a big inconvenience, you know, if I take this car versus, you know, my Hyundai Sonata daily, you know, for example. It's actually why I try to push a lot of the modern creature comforts, like the rear camera. You could do other things, like you could do like heated seats with these. It's not too bad to do, but I really don't care to, or does it make that much of a difference for me. But yeah, I'm really big into just making it modern. Again, this car does drive, it performs, you know, these are all tech stickers, but it performs, it does what you need it to. It turns on when you want it to. It has power steering, you know, it has radio, listen to your music, Apple CarPlay, backup camera, whatever you need realistically. But I think that's it. Let me know if there's anything you want to know about this car. I mean, it's was built from a shell, so realistically I think about every nut and bolt has been touched on this car, to tell you the truth. Which if I had to do it again, I'd probably just buy a complete one and just start from there, rather than putting all the hours and, you know, just resources trying to find parts for this thing around here. I mean, you're driving 3 hours to buy, I don't know, a differential or subframe. It's not, I don't want to do that no more. Maybe I just get to a certain age where it's just not worth it for me. I think this video is long enough, but other than that, y'all have a good rest of your day.